This video is brought to you by Bokksu. Bokksu, delicious, premium Japanese snacks delivered to you straight from the land of the rising sun. Use the code BENTO10 at checkout to get 10% off your subscription. I'm excited. They got the box looks different today. Look at that.
I'm very excited.
We're celebrating the Moon Festival here today. Black sesame cookie.
Black sesame cookie. Black sesame is some of my favorite ice cream flavor. Every time I go to Mitsuba, I always ask them for a taste, even though I know what it tastes like, but it's free ice cream. Oh, wow.
That has a punch. It's kind of smoky a little bit, very aromatic.
Yeah, that's a tasty ass cookie.
Also, to wash down these delicious snacksu, we have some Hoshino Hojicha lattes.
That is very tasty. Holy crap.
Black strawberry.
Black strawberry. Ooh.
I love the freeze-dried strawberry, holy crap. And they infuse the chocolate itself with like the strawberry flavor too, so it's not just the strawberry on the inside.
I need 100 more of those by tonight.
Once you go black strawberry, you never go back strawberry.
The depth of flavor on that is insane.
Strawberry and chocolate always goes well together.
It's true.
Setochi lemon mochi.
I do love my mochi, and I also love my citrus. Oh, it's so good. Good.
Oh, like you bite into it and it just gives you that lemon hit. Like a house freshly cleaned with pine sol.
Lemony fresh. That's a Space Jam reference.
Kurumi walnut mochi. I will say, this is a much subtler flavor.
That's a working man's mochi.
Very much so. If I were to make a suggestion, I would suggest eating this one before the lemon one.
Yeah.
A rich baked chocolate.
Oh, and it comes in a little tray. Look at that. Oh my God.
It's like your mouth is filled with brownie batter.
That was an explosion of flavor, you guys. You have no idea.
Oh my God. Next up, we got some tree cake.
Baumkuchen.
Break this wheel.
I got a little more than you. I am sorry. I'm not
That's
sorry at all.
fine.
Not even a little bit.
Takes a moment for that matcha flavor to develop.
But once it does, it's beautiful.
Ishigakijima chili oil chips. Ooh, and they got the little chili flakes inside the chip. I love spicy snacks. Spicy snacks are great.
This honestly has the flavor of pepper more than it has any of the heat, which is nice, you know? Pepper is a delicious vegetable.
Technically think peppers are fruits.
Well, I know something about spicy fruits.
Salted black bitter chocolate chinsoko.
This is
Holy
the
shit.
darkest chocolate in the entire box, and it's salty too. They've combined this dark chocolate flavor with the natural sweetness of the cookie and a saltiness that brings it all together. Just one small little bite has filled my mouth.
I should not put the whole thing in at once.
You poor bitch.
Do not eat the two chocolate things in this box back to back. That is a warning.
That combined with the cookie is the best combination so far. My God.
Next up, we have the Usagi no Shippo green tea bun. And filled with the delicious mochi goo.
You're right, it is. And a lot of snacks like these, they'll have like pictures of it and they'll show you it's packed full of whatever filling it has. And then you bite into it and it's like, oh, a little bit, just a little bit in there. Just enough to be like, okay, if we take it to court, we're gonna lose. No, this is packed full of mochi. I'm actually really surprised.
Oh yeah, the mochi flavor hits you. Like compared to the tree cake, this, boom. Potato, snack, corn, potage, flavor.
It's so corny.
What the? I have eaten corn that have tasted less like corn than this.
I know, right? They turned cream corn into a crispy cracker. It's amazing.
If anything with Bokksu, the fact that like, they continue to surprise me to this day after over a year of sponsorship. Thank you, by the way. It's crazy to me that we can still find snacks that are like, how?
What?
Where?
Japan.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
All right.
And well, that was another delicious Bokksu, straight from Bokksu. And this is still one of my favorite sponsorships.
And you can get your own delicious Bokksu from Bokksu.com. And if you use the code BENTO10 at checkout, get 10% off your subscription. So check it out. Thank you so much, and enjoy the video to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the motherfucking tea.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to My Hero Academia Reviews. I'm Scott Geiserneko-Ferrix, and these are my co-hosts. Right.
Hey, that's me. I don't know what direction I am, so you're going to
I
have to say who you're talking to.
And over there is...
Lanny.
Yeah,
Hi.
yours is always the easiest one, because if I start with him, then you just know that you're the one who's being pointed at next.
You've made a pattern of starting with him, so I'm just used to it.
I'm terrible at recognizing patterns. Sorry.
Ah, man, that must make predicting stories so difficult for you.
I never know what's coming.
Ah.
But hey, speaking of stories, this week's My Hero Academia was, I think, pretty crazy, actually. I was a real big fan of this episode.
The Sad Man's Parade.
Yeah, I love that name, and I've always been kind of a fan of Twice. In this episode, he got plenty of stuff, and I was into it. And got rough in a couple spots.
Yeah, he got a lot of screen time this time around. It was actually
He filled the screen a number of times.
in fact, I actually went through a bunch of different thumbnails I wanted to use because I wanted to find the one that I felt like was perfect for him.
Oh yeah, there were probably plenty of good thumbnails in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twice got his Kage Bunshin no Jutsu moment where I guess this is his power explosion where he finally like worked his way through. It's like, I don't even care. I'm just gonna make all the Miis.
Yeah. I really like the way that we find out, like, so not only how he joined the League through Giran, which is like, yeah, no wonder he's absolutely dedicated to saving him. But I absolutely love the small but very subtle setup when he's like, yeah, any single one of my copies, if they take a significant amount of damage, they'll basically deteriorate. Basically a broken bone for an adult person.
Yeah, I really like that specification that worked out later.
And anything hard enough to break a bone, just like, like that's a good threshold to figure out how much damage those things need to take.
Yeah, that is a completely believable way for him to say it. Like, yeah, him saying about a broken bone. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can understand how much damage that ultimately is. Like,
I roughly understand where that is on a threshold.
yeah, for a normal person. So, like, when that comes back later, that's actually pretty spectacular. I had completely forgotten about that. I'm like, oh, nice. Very good setup.
Can we talk about like the horrific imagery of like the Twice puppets slowly turning Toga's head? Like,
Yeah.
Could you kill her in a maybe less slow and painful way?
So the really interesting thing there is, just besides the fact that, yes, that is a completely horrific image just in general.
Every time they cut back to her, it's just like a little further.
Just
I'm
a
like,
little bit more.
stop.
Yeah. Twice's whole trauma of himself not knowing if he is himself, and then seeing many of his own selves killing oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name again. We just did a whole thing. Himiko is just like, I think it's actually, there's part
Is
of
that
me
me?
that
That's not me. I wouldn't hurt my friend.
Yeah. I like that. Like, first of all, like the bones breaking, and then him being like, no, I would never hurt my friends. That's not me. Booga! This is me.
Yeah. And also, so that moment where he gets his arms broken, but then he just starts crying in happiness. That is such
I'm really me.
I didn't disappear. Oh, God.
Dude.
But see, what if he doesn't realize that like the way his power works is the last copy that's left is just now real?
That would
Oh man, that would ultimately, like, that could possibly make him like close to invulnerable.
Yeah.
as long as he had one of his own out there.
Like basically he's just always got backups. He's really just creating extra lives.
Oh man, that'd be fascinating. Yeah, he just like just before he dies, he makes another one, and then that other one will live on.
Or no,
normally.
every time he goes out to do something dangerous, he just leaves one behind.
Speaking of your Kaminari, he like just before he dies, he makes another one. It's later, but I loved when like one of his clones gets cut in half, and as it's dying, it's making another one. And it's just
Oh,
like, wait, what?
Yeah, that
There were a lot of great situations where, like, they're arguing with each other. No, I'm the real one. I'm the real one. One gets
It
decapitated.
doesn't matter.
One gets decapitated. Ha! I knew it.
Yeah.
Not that guy.
I also really like. One of my favorite scenes in the entire thing is where the magician guy goes like, "But what about your
Compress.
trauma? Love and friendship solve the problem."
Love and friendship solve the problem. That doesn't sound very villainous. A villain can care about their friends.
Yeah.
Who says villains can't have friends?
It is easily the funniest moment in the episode for me, like by a lot. Just that response to that question, to that like concern. I loved it. Compressed, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget a lot of the League of Villains, which is why they always put them on screen, huh? I do. Sometimes there's a part of me that wants to critique the series for always having the name on screen. Like, oh, what are we idiots who can't remember?
But then you continually forget and have to ask.
Yeah,
yeah, it's true.
It's
That's
important
on you.
It's important information, but also I do think there's a layer, and maybe it's because it's also like, not in my native language, but there's a part of it that almost like comes off as visual noise where I just kind of start zeroing like in around it instead of actually reading it half the time.
It's true. That and like generally, I really do care about the characters and their stories, but when it comes to names, again, there's just so many that they always get caught in the lost in the tumble. Although Twice is kind of easy to remember because it's really catchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This is
just like I have a hard time remembering his real name, like Booba Gawara.
Bubaya Gawara
yeah.
will never
Yeah.
leave my head now, though. I will
Yeah,
never
I
be able to
just-
forget Bubaya Gawara.
Yeah, but like it's just that name that's like I'm not even sure how to pronounce it because they say it so infrequently. So,
Yeah.
but either way,
My buddy Twice, Booby as I call him.
yeah, my bosom buddy Booby. There you go. But this was a very fun episode to watch him just kind of like, work through his trauma, and then the puppet guy goes off and sulks.
Yeah.
Off to do
I've
something
never
else, I guess.
failed.
By the way,
I
I only failed
only
one time.
once.
Okay.
I'm not going to make much of a big deal out of this because I feel like this episode was genuinely just a good adaptation. I will say that scene in the manga is perfect, and I'm really kind of sad that they didn't try and adapt what they did in the manga because literally
it's
it's
just like pussing out and walking away.
because there's no dialogue until he hits the door, and then he turns around and says it, and it's just several little panels of him getting up, turning around, walking to the door. Like it's
Just
so
very-
good.
very
Like,
dramatically and wordlessly walking away.
well, no, it's funny in how undramatic it is. He just literally just gets up, walks to the door, and he's like, "I've never failed," and then he leaves. I don't know. It's just really good in that shot. Like, good. It's still a good episode. Like, that part I had to point out because it was really funny.
And like Twice ends up making like one of Twice's clones makes it all the way to the elevator, creates clones of Dabi, Shigaraki, and Compress. I love his little speech to them. It's like, hey, say this, speak after me. I am a clone. It doesn't matter if I die. It makes you feel better. Don't worry.
It's good. It's all right. Once you understand, this is what you're doing. It's fine.
Oh man, and there's a part that I love about Shigaraki's response of, "Don't make a clone of your leader and then tell him he's going to die."
And then and then Shigaraki's clone just continues to like
Be a
work it.
boss.
Yeah. That's what's great is like even Shigaraki's clone is like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like more reliable than like his
Yeah.
other clones because it's based on his leader.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, I have now thought ahead even of you because of my clone saw the real me and we had a mental
Yeah.
connection.
By the way, you should all like you should start making more clones to protect
yeah,
Giran, yeah.
Giran
Cover
over there.
him.
So that he doesn't die from the crushing that's about to happen. What do you mean? I saw my clone, and if I were him, I'd just destroy
I
this
know what
entire
I
building.
do,
So
and we're the same
that's-
person.
that's about. I'm gonna touch the building now, which led me to thinking because we got to see Redestro's power, and I guess he can just do like big balloon gorilla arms and probably do that with multiple parts of his body. Which I'm guessing there's more to it because we've seen a like one of the classmates can also just make their hands or body parts big.
You'll get an
hero.
explanation soon.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will next episode. But so for the most part, we just see that he can grow his limbs for, by some mechanism, some innate ability allows him to do that. What a horrific matchup for Shigaraki. Anything that has to get in melee is just bad news when you're fighting a guy that can dust anything he touches.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's so big and so powerful that I'm wondering how
He
that's
just
actually going to
dusted a building.
a building. That
The
was
building
standing
doesn't
still.
move.
Yeah, exactly. The building does not move.
Okay, so he swings his arm at him. Hold your hand out. Shit. Okay, hold on.
Maybe. Well, like,
Ew.
yeah, and especially with his recent power up where he was like seemingly killing anything that touched whatever he touched. Like, there's a layer of me that's like, could he touch the floor and therefore kill anyone standing on it?
It's a scary power that kind of just got scary over the last couple of episodes. To be honest.
Like there's obviously limitations to it, and it's obvious that he can control the function, like how much, because when he was doing it to Overhaul, he didn't immediately turn to dust. His entire body didn't immediately turn to dust. It was just kind of like crackling. So it's clear that he can kind of like dimmer switch it a bit when he's doing it. At least that's how it seems. And maybe even at his full strength, he can't like immediately dust something that has so much mass. Who knows? But still, anybody that has to get within melee of him, anybody that can be touched by him is just kind of screwed.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's definitely how it feels. And I'm not sure if, because like I'm assuming since we see the Liberation Army later, Destro and him are not going to, or Destro is probably not going to die from this interaction. I assume
Either that or Shigaraki takes over.
I mean, that's something I've been theorizing, and I didn't want to start getting into that until we talked about the whole episode. But part of me is now thinking, can Twice make a Destro and they just lead the Liberation Army from the shadows?
Although it's not like those clones really follow his orders. They seem to like maintain the mentality of the person that they were cloned from.
I do have to wonder if that's always true. Like, so I do have to wonder, can Twice make a clone that he can modify the personality of?
I think that really, like, I don't know, like we haven't really gone that deep in on his quirk for like exactly how much control he has over that, but we know that Shigaraki was like back talking him and Dabi was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that they are pretty coded as whatever they, whoever they're copying, because I think it is a literal copy. Like, he is not making any real alterations.
And they even seem to have like muted versions of the original's quirks too.
Yeah, they do seem to be able to, because Dabi definitely used his fire, and it seemed like Destro did not want to get touched by Shigaraki. Which is
strange for a man who just grabs him in a full gorilla grip. You think like, okay, all four fingers just on that thumb.
Yeah, he did seem to like clamp his arms down to his sides though. I think it has to be like a full on he
needs to, the way he described it to Deku when he was threatening him with his hand around his neck is all five fingers have to be touched.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was the rule. He has to get you with all the fingers.
We have talked about
the 5-finger discount.
I'm still wondering if he can do it to himself.
I mean, he probably could. I'm just assuming he chooses not to.
I mean, obviously.
He wears gloves, so clearly there's some sort of transitive property where the gloves themselves don't seem to die every time he's using it.
Yeah, that is sort of curious of whether or not his gloves actually like do anything to stop it.
Maybe it's the same principle as Mirio and how he needed clothing made out of his own hair so that he could work with it. So maybe he can't affect his own body that way. Otherwise, we go back to my debate of where does it start? Is it his bones, his muscle, the very, very tips of his fingers? Because something would be dissolving on his hands when he's using that.
The very tips of his fingers, so therefore he's always got like one fingerless glove part.
Yeah.
So he never disintegrates his gloves.
He has those smartphone gloves.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just little holes right where his fingerprints are.
But yeah,
we briefly see the politician dude, the hearts and mind guy, shows up to encounter Spinner and
who I guess is going to be Spinner's fight.
That seems like
to be what they were building up.
Because Spinner and Shigaraki were like kind of running, and then he shows up and he's like, "Everybody go do this." And I thought for a second they were going to reveal like this politician's quirk is like making people follow his orders. But
don't worry, Spinner. We gave you a fight with a guy who's got a support ability. It's cool. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you also get to fight somebody who seems outmatched here in almost every way.
I can't wait to see Spinner's quirk evolve.
Hey man,
Now even more Gecko.
I mean, I love his design. If he
Yeah.
gets a cool lizardy power that like he
No.
just hasn't been using, if he cuts off a limb and gets to regrow it or something,
Or he
like,
starts
it's
like
all-
spitting acid or something.
He
Yeah.
has a great look that he stole from somebody that looked a little cooler. So
yeah,
Honestly, I think
and
while
he's like a
Stain-
turtle.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I always thought that Stain looked cool, but like if I had to choose between the designs of Spinner or oh my god, I just
If
said
Stain's
Stain.
design was Spinner, that would have definitely like, I mean, not that Stain didn't already stick in my mind, but that would have been like a whoa, who is this guy when he showed up for me?
Yeah, because when Stain shows up, Stain's like, especially in the manga, I gotta admit, like the fact that not Horikoshi spent so much time with the shading and details. Like Stain looks way cooler in the manga just by value of the fact that he's able to like do all kinds of crazy stuff with
I
the
mean,
perspectives and details.
He still had a
I mean,
striking
he-
design for sure.
he's a Todd McFarlane character. He looks awesome. Like
Yeah.
any character that looks like that really looks cool as a statue. So like
Yeah.
he cuts an imposing design.
But in terms of like overall design quality, especially for something that's going to be moving, I definitely would have to lean closer towards Spinner. I actually think that Spinner at the end of the day pulls off the style a little bit better than Stain did with his try hard Todd McFarlane look.
I'm always a sucker for reptilian characters.
Me
So I was
too.
like, yeah, this guy looks cool when he showed up.
I grew
And
up.
I hope he
Like-
gets
like-
something.
Like I said, he's even closer to being Raphael than Stain was. So
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of the Ninja Turtles when I was growing up. What can I say?
I can't disagree.
But shoot, is there anything-
Dobby also fights Ice Guy.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
Dobby's skin's burning.
It's they keep doing this like weird cutaway with that where it's like, I don't think we're getting the full fight here. Like we're just gonna get bits and pieces of it until we get to the climax of it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're doing this like everybody gets a focus, but other people are still doing stuff. So you're gonna see them starting what's probably going to be their big like dramatic, turning point fight. So Spinner's probably gonna get something with Politician Dude. Dobby's gonna get something with this Iceman. Although he was really cool because he was like he kind of laid bare the stuff that we already know, but he's basically like in the Liberation Army's world, whoever's quirk is the strongest, you're the best. Like
Yeah.
it's just like your whole life is based on how powerful your quirk is. So I have spent my whole life, even longer than any student or anyone who's been doing this, making my better. And he's just like, boom, I froze all the pipes in this
Yeah,
entire
he sh-
city, motherfucker.
Showing that he's like incredibly powerful. As long as there's ice somewhere, he can control the temperature of that ice. So really what this comes down to is, can you melt all of the ice? every single speck of ice needs to be melted. It's a Gohan Cell scenario, basically.
How hot you got, Dobby?
So it's really interesting like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
We see like the ice just explode from all the pipes, and I did love
million
I did
twice.
love
Mees.
yeah, Mees.
no, my knees.
Send in the Mees. Where are the Mees?
Oh yeah, that was. Actually, I won't lie. I usually don't think of our stuff when I'm watching stuff, but when I saw the me's, I'm like, okay, yeah. Then
You just
that
don't
was-
see the
that's
word
it.
Mees very often.
Yeah.
It's true.
Me in plural is pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, that was it was really. I will say, yeah, the whole stuff with the ice guy and the fact that we're cutting back and forth. I think it wouldn't be so distracting if, we didn't get a couple of dedicated episodes already, while everyone else kind of seems to have to like share screen time.
It's weird because this felt like it was supposed to be Twice's episode, but it was so split among the cast. And admittedly, it's not like Twice was doing he was doing a lot, but he did a lot very quickly and in a way that is kind of hard to make a full episode out of.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like you definitely could have, if they had both the time and the pacing. Because
if they had the number of episodes.
yeah, you could have made this a whole. You could have made the Sad Man's Parade up until where he shows up at the actual tower. You could have made that a whole episode, I think.
He was a young boy.
I know, right? I
Father.
can't get
Yep.
Black Parade out of my head either. But it was such a cool scene, and a cool episode, and a cool I'm really glad to finally see this part of the manga, because I won't lie, Sad Man's Parade was one of those things from this arc that I was like, yes, this is the best part of the arc so far, just because we get to see not only Twice develop and get more screen time, but what they just did with Twice was crazy. Like this is more than just a small upgrade. When he says, "Hey, yo, we don't just need a league. We can make the villain's prefecture." That's he's not wrong. This is insane.
Yeah,
Well,
no, he is an army.
Yeah, what I thought when I saw Twice was like, oh wait, our League of Villains now has its foot soldiers. Like he can now be like, we have like our just grunts to throw at things infinitely until we like, lower defenses or whatever, or infiltrate whatever it is we're doing.
Yeah, because with the amount of Twices that Twice makes, it seems like he can do this almost limitlessly.
Like I love it. He's basically their putties. Like he's just like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make our blank dudes who run into situations
Which is
fight for a
funny
bit.
you say that, because when I first saw his design, I'm like, he looks like a putty from Power Rangers.
Yeah, there
A
you go.
little bit.
Yeah.
It does remind me quite a bit of basically I guess Power Rangers is the go-to, but also in other like 80s anime.
Just Sentai generic.
Yeah, in 70s and 80s anime, you'd find a lot of these characters who look exactly like him, all standing there saluting the villain, etc. So yeah, it's actually it's pretty good. He's kind of the perfect pick to be the nameless swarm henchman, basically.
I was thinking between putties and the Foot Clan of Shredder.
Yeah,
exactly.
Foot.
Like his little ninjas. But yeah, and like that just kind of made me think like that's just a cool like now we have our grunt army to go in and just brute force stuff or wear down heroes and stuff like that. So it's just a really cool power up, and I think even though you're right, he was kind of only like the first chunk of this episode. I feel like everything he did after this facilitated everyone else.
Yes.
So it was like
Yeah,
even though it wasn't about him, it was all directly influenced by his buff.
It was the centerpiece and core of this episode. We also got another wiki drop from Destro talking about like the first kid that came out with a quirk and how it was treated, which is interesting because it's about exactly how you think it would. The kid was seen as like
he was a monster.
Yeah. So yeah, what's wrong with this thing? And his mom's like, it's just a quirk, okay? And so that term got adapted, and now when other babies were born, I wonder. It seems like Destro is kind of like the Magneto of this world, except he showed up when mutants were already the norm. So it's like, okay,
now I want there to be only mutants.
So yeah, and apparently Destro it was that kid, like the kid she was talking about.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah, there were way fewer generations between the beginning and.
Well, remember by the time Quirk came along, because the abilities
was not the first quirk. This was just when the term.
Oh, gotcha,
quirk.
gotcha.
Yeah, and they also talk about the fact that it was a very dark period for a while there. Like they kind of they talk about the dark time before a lot of this stuff was finally regulated and they got everything out of control. And at the time, Destro was like, where the mother wanted them to be accepted, her son was like, no, we're better and we should be running everything and we shouldn't be regulated at all. So
he was Magneto.
Yeah, kind of.
Except there wasn't like
put in a special jail that could only hold him.
Yeah, except there weren't like normal humans out there that were trying to exterminate all the quirk people. Although I'm guessing there probably were early on.
I mean, yeah, there were probably a lot of people who just decidedly wanted to get rid of them. Although they were in the minority, as we know. Like I believe 80% of the population's got a quirk.
Probably not in the very beginning.
Probably, right? Probably as time went on, they're probably.
But as soon as more of them started having kids that started having quirks, it's like maybe we should change our worldview.
Well, yeah, at that point it's like, well, we're kind of outnumbered here, so.
Well, it's also like, oh, my kid has a quirk. I should take down all this fascist propaganda I have. Whoops.
Whoopsie doops.
I voted for the wrong guy.
But yeah, and Redestro, and to be Redestro, Destro's son, and Destro, son of the woman who came up with the term quirk. So it's probably been like, what, maybe 80 years since the term quirk was invented? Maybe more, possibly?
I mean, if it's his dad, maybe like closer to 40, 50.
Yeah, you're probably thinking like, yeah, somewhere between 40 and 60 years. I know people who have had children at a very, I mean, in anime, we're even talking about stretching that further because
okay, hold
Joseph
on.
Joestar had
Oh.
freaking Josuke a little before like freaking Stardust Crusaders began. So
Apparently, Redestro is in fact not Destro's son. Apparently, he's just related to him, like further down the line.
Just a
So this-
descendant.
Yeah. Okay. So the dark period lasted like 50 years. Apparently.
one generation.
Yeah. So yeah,
It
would
was
have
the
been
Dark Generation.
the Dark Generation. That definitely sounds like something from an anime. But
It was an
yeah.
entire generation of darkness.
But was there anything else in this episode that would particularly stood out to either of you guys?
We know that earlier on in the episode, Gigantomachia, they're like, he's gonna be awake in maybe another hour. But then the doctor's like, yeah, fuck that. Wake the fuck up.
Hey.
And so we know that Gigantomachia has, been
Beelining it.
Yeah, he's expedited the process, so he's on his way.
I do like the fact that so the doctor's probably like, I probably should have them continue to play by the rules, but these fuckers did kind of interrupt what was happening, so I'm gonna give them a break.
What if I gave them something else to adapt to?
It's pretty great, honestly, because also I really love the animation of Gigantomachia waking up and taking off.
He's like,
Yeah, and just that
successor.
and that fucking jump towards the screen is sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing by the end of next episode, we're going like that's going to be the cliffhanger for that episode, is he's going to show up.
Oh gosh, maybe.
I can see that. How many more episodes do we have this season?
2 or 3, right?
We're on 22. There's 3 episodes left.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually have no idea where it's going to end, by the way. Like, I went back and I actually reread, and I'm like, oh, wow, what is the ending going to be for this one?
I mean, I feel like this,
Another
revival
beach
party
episode.
or whatever they're calling this fight. Like, I like you could do the conclusion of that in there, me not knowing where it's going. But like, I could see that being the end of this conflict, I guess. But that's also 3 more episodes of this conflict might be too much.
We usually get like a climax and then a wind down episode or 2.
Okay, so yeah, maybe next episode is well, I don't want to jump right into it if people didn't watch the next time on. But
Well, we know it's going to involve Shigaraki for the most
Yeah.
parts, dealing with Redestro. Spinner's going to be having his little side debate with his political opponent, I guess.
and I'm guessing Dobby's probably gonna get something with Ice Dude.
yeah, we'll get another like 2 or 3 minutes of cutaways for that.
Yeah.
And then maybe an episode of them dealing with Makia getting there, or maybe that's just maybe he shows up and that's just the end. Maybe like the episode ends with him getting there and being like, all right, problem solved.
We know for a fact that it all ends with the city being destroyed. So,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we're partly there. The infrastructure beneath the city has been burst
There's-
into ice.
yeah.
So it's already hollowed out. Just gotta finish that off, I guess.
Yeah, place has been ruined. Like, already, just like the whole city is fucking wrecked.
Can we talk about how? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can we talk about how abrupt the ending was for this episode, though?
This
like-
episode felt short to me. Like, and I don't know, maybe it's just I enjoyed it more than the last bunch. But like when this one ended, I felt like, oh, I did not think we were actually at the end of this episode yet.
It was like, okay, so the building crumbled and Shigaraki's standing down there. It's like, aha, now it's my turn. And Redestro gets up. It's like, so now we get to have our talk. And then bam, right to the credits. Like as his sentence end is like, boom, credits. Okay.
I mean, I do like that because he's like, guess you didn't get to hear my answer then. Like, that's such a good, like, I feel like that's a really great way to end it. Like, he's angry and he's got that, like, that darkness covering over his face. And I don't know. I actually liked how abrupt it was. It felt right to me.
It just felt like, I don't know. It felt weird. Like there was probably something that they could have done which would have made it feel a little better to me. It wasn't bad. It was just odd.
For me, I'm still finding the pace of this to be a little bit too much because here's the thing, I don't need a slower episode necessarily. One of the things that I like about anime adaptations of manga is that you can give them more meat. You can and not just like adding a bunch of scenes that don't exist, but giving them some more connective tissue because I feel like because of the way that they're having to adapt everything, there's very little in the way of movement, motion, connective shots, less action, just less in general. And hell, they even had to cut out a bunch of dialogue so far because they cut out scenes earlier. So there's just a lot of stuff that kind of does feel like it's missing. We're really rushing through this. And now we have 6 chapters for the next 3, or I think it was, no, actually it was 8. We have 8 chapters for the next 2 episodes, which is actually a great pace. Like, now we probably will slow down just a little bit, but like, yeah, I will admit, this has been breakneck in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the next couple of episodes really give this some room to breathe, but we'll see.
Again, kind of maybe not so much spoilers stuff, but something I did notice this episode that I had seen someone mention in the chat weeks ago was that it seems like Spinner and Shigaraki are kind of like buddies. Like, I like with how they were talking to each other as they were running in, and I saw some people saying like we were hoping we would get to see Spinner and Shigaraki's relationship more, which made me assume that there was something to that. I don't know, that might not be a thing, but I felt like this episode they were kind of like a duo for a sec, and it did feel like there was like a chemistry, like buddies there.
Yeah, there was stuff cut earlier on.
Yeah.
There was a whole scene that we were missing that kind of led into all of this. It's why this is still good. I'm still enjoying it. We're still getting the big moments, the stuff that I wanted, but it's frustrating that they removed stuff for Spinner. Like, he actually had some development and they got rid of it because they're like, nah, we need to get to the meat of this, and we needed that beach episode really bad. Also, that
not
episode,
a season if we don't see Sue in a swimsuit.
and also that episode at the very beginning where we had him, go over everything again. Oh well.
Yeah, it's those opening episodes that I know they're probably contractually obligated to make, but those are always like, I never want to watch the first episode of a season of My Hero because I can paint by numbers it every time.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind so much if it were well written, but they're not. They're actually badly written.
I feel like those first episodes could be condensed into like the first scene of that first episode. Like, it's just like, here's a quick recap. Here's the characters using their powers, doing something. So you clearly get like, okay, I know what this guy does and this guy, and I remember their names. Cool. Back at it.
Yeah.
But they usually spend a whole episode doing that.
The real shitty thing is you do that entire first episode to introduce everybody's quirks, and then you have an entire arc where you're showing off everybody's quirks.
Yeah, this season in particular probably didn't need the recap.
Oh well. I mean, but hey, here's another obligatory. Scott complains about the anime not being as good as the manga. Don't mind me. Anyway, but beyond all that, is there anything else we want to talk about with this episode? Because I feel like I've scraped every single edge of the barrel on this one.
I think we've chatted about everything on this one that I think we could have, but I got a question for Chat. Chat, who do you think would win? 100 Twices or 100 Foot Soldiers? 100 Twices or 100 Putties? 100 Twices or 100 White Zetsus?
Oh, 100 White Zetsus.
You think?
Yeah. Well, the White Zetsus are like really,
I mean, they are meant to go up against actual ninja war,
yeah.
But then again, the Twices are fighting a bunch of people, like Liberation Army people with superpowers. So
yeah, see, the thing with 100 Twices, and that I don't know the other things we're making them fight could do, is Twice can hit those 100 Twices. Each of those can make 2 more Twices.
See, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking too. It's like, it's kind of a trick question, because the Twices can just continue to multiply.
Yeah.
That 100 Twices can soon be 1,000 Twices.
That said, if we're limiting it strictly to 100,
yeah,
I think he would beat the Putties, probably lose to Zetsus and Foot Soldiers, because all of them can keep going with a broken limb. Putties are the only ones that there's an easy one-hit kill that once one of them figures it out, that fight's done.
I don't know. The Foot Soldiers, I mean, especially if we're talking about like the 80s Foot Soldiers in the cartoon, they get knocked down pretty quick.
They do.
Hey, let us know your reasoning in the comments below. What did you think of the episode as well?
Yep. And tune in next week. Hold on, I just want to make sure. Will we be back next week? I think we will.
Yeah, I was curious if you guys will be back in time next week.
Unless we're flying out on Sunday still, so I imagine.
Yeah, so there shouldn't be a problem. We should be back next Monday unless one of us gets sick, because we're flying a bunch, and regardless of everything else, I always get sick after travel. But hey, everyone, take care, be well, stay safe, and we'll see you next time on My Hero Academia Reviews. Bye.
Later.